2020 Ducati Streetfighter V4S Review. Since Ducati announced the Panigale V4 in 2018, sport bike enthusiasts have been licking their chops at the prospect of a naked version of the venerable Italian superbike. Now, the wait is over with the 2020 Ducati Streetfighter V4 and V4S. After a 5-year hiatus from the supernaked segment, the Streetfighter V4 returns to deliver superbike performance with street civility, two things that are diametrically opposed. Yet, it's a feat that Ducati has achieved. With only 2 short days on the clock, I pointed the 2020 Ducati Streetfighter V4S towards the canyons to hit you with the fast facts. 1. The Desmosedici Straddle 1103 cubic centimeters 90-degree V4 is breathtakingly powerful. With a claimed 208 peak horsepower and 90 ft-lbs of torque at the crank, when the V4 is opened up, it will transform the world around you into a menagerie of abstract shapes and colors reminiscent of a Jackson Pollock painting. A ferocious moto-pesque roar from the twin-pulse firing order is heard, a tasteful bit of rumbling is felt through the chassis, and all of that happens before 11,000 rpm, leaving plenty of revs on the table with a stratospheric 14,500 rpm redline. 2. Top-end performance isn't its only trait, as the V4 makes roughly 70% of its peak torque at 4,000 rpm. This gives the V4 loads of low-end and mid-range power that can be exploited at more reasonable speeds, whether that be trolling the city streets or going for a quick rip in the canyons. 3 subtle changes have made the V4 power plant suitable for road riding. One of the many departures the Streetfighter V4 makes when compared to its predecessor is its welcoming mannerisms, save for a bit lumpiness that clutch feathering takes care of at extremely low RPM. It is friendly at casual speeds. Engineers opted for a map that prioritizes torque over outright horsepower. When compared to the Panigale V4, the SF is sacrificing 8 unmissed ponies up top and 1.5 ft-lbs of torque, while delivering 70% of its torque between 4,000 and 9,000 rpm and percent or better of peak torque from 900 to 13,000 rpm. That change, combined with 10% shorter final drive gearing, 16/41 to 15/42, gives the SF loads of usable power virtually anywhere in the rev range. You can carry a gear 2 or 3 too tall, and you'll still exit strong. For all that power has its benefits, but it's controlled. The SF's V4 power plant is versatile, despite its impressive spec sheet claims. Of course, another factor in the V4 rideability is that torque is curtailed and optimized in gears 1 to 4, making it much more rider-friendly. The SF isn't a wanton wheelie machine, unless you want it to be. Beyond that, curbing power at certain RPM helps make the engine far more linear and predictable. While this motorcycle has more performance than can ever be tapped on the street, riders don't have to push it to the ends of its potential to have fun. It can play at both ends of the spectrum. 5. Heat management has improved. It shouldn't come as a shock that a high-performance engine such as this is capable of producing a noticeable amount of radiant heat. After all, it's a gigantic V4 boasting a silly amount of power. The SF does have a clear advantage over its fully fared brother in that it is naked, allowing it to disperse radiant heat much more effectively. Ducati took things a step further by deactivating the rear cylinder banks when at a standstill, and the engine is above 167 degrees, offering a further reprieve. Riding around in the balmy Southern California weather, there is a perfectly tolerable amount of heat primarily near my right boot, as the rear header is nearby. A bit of heat is expected, but importantly, it's nowhere near the scorching temperatures the now defunct twin-engine superbikes produced.